Hey guys, I'm John Carrick, the author of Legacy of a Mad Scientist and Legend of Ashley Fox, two amazing science fiction fantasy novels for you on Amazon, Smashwords, and right here on YouTube as audiobooks if you want to listen to them. Today we're going to look at Conan, the Grim Grey God, number 3. I did look at this briefly when I first started the channel, but I hadn't been reading the comics and I hadn't been looking at them in depth. I was just kind of flashing the art to promote the channel, and I'm still doing the same thing. But today I read this, I was looking through what am I going to read today, and this is in a new stack of Conans that I just got, and this is one that I already had. Now they did recolor a bunch of stuff, and so there are some changes. Here's the splash page again, Barry Smith, fucking genius artist. Conan has, this is the 3rd issue of Conan the Barbarian. He's escaped some Hyperboreans who put him in chains in the last one, and he's sworn the chains will not come off until he's had his revenge. So this is the new version, and there's some stuff I want to point out. The first thing that happens is that Conan is wandering through the steppes of wherever, somewhere near Hyperborea and Brunthia. Yeah, Hyperborea and Brunthia. And he runs into this guy who is not Odin. I suppose this is the equivalent of Mars or Ares. And I need to look into him a bit more. This is Bori. This might be Odin's brother, son. I know Odin has 2 brothers, Vili and Vili, which are Will and Heart, I believe. I hadn't looked that up. But this is Bori, a northern war god, and these are the Valkyrie, the choosers of the slain. He clearly states there are 12 of them. I have 12 because we have 4 gates over Angel City, and they work in three shifts, and there has to be an angel at the gate 24 hours a day. So faith, hope, and charity are at the north gate. Grace, joy, and harmony are at the east gate. Temperance, honor, and liberty are at the south gate, while prudence, sage, and mercy are at the west gate. And so what's happening in my story is the vampires get together with the jinn and the witches, and they create a ceremony to bring the eldritch gods in to oppose Odin and his Valkyrie, the All-Father and his Valkyrie. I got to look into Bori. So Conan has this conversation with Bori, where Bori knows his name and tells him that, hey man, there's a war on the horizon between Hyperborea and Brunthia, and you're going to be in the middle of it. You're going to witness the death of kings and more. So as Conan continues through the forest, he bumps into this guy, who is a human, presumably a Bruntian and not a Hyperborean. Although the Hyperboreans in this story look like humans, their king is named Tomar, and the Savage King is Tomar, and the other one is named Brian. But so here, this guy that Conan's riding with runs into his girlfriend, and she gives him this special armor that will keep him safe. And Conan agrees to fight with him as long as he gets to kill Hyperboreans. So that means he must be with the Bruntians. Bruntians. I don't know how to say it. No one ever taught me. I never heard anyone say it before. But so, and now here we get one of those half-page cuts, right? The top panel is Conan, and then we cut to this guy, Malachi, and Tomar, or Brian's king. And this guy, Malachi, is his cavalry officer, and she gets him to hold back the cavalry until it's too late for Brian to be saved, but not too late to defeat the other king, Tomar. So they're trying to set this up so Tomar loses, but Brian also loses, and Malachi ends up winning the queen. And then that ends, so that little one scene bit ends. It starts here, and it's 2/3 of a page. We have a 1/3 of a page here. And then we get it's only the top panel here. I think this was a little different in this one. Let me double check this. This is the top panel is the Queen and Malachi, and then we cut back to this other guy who was with Conan, who is now wearing this golden mail that's supposed to keep him safe. And he has a prejudice against armor. He is with the Bryuntians, who are a little more wild, and they sort of, the armor is eschewed in their tribe. They think it's sort of feminine. Conan's not wearing any armor, but he does have a helmet on. And this is Tomar. The girl who was just out there conspiring with Malachi is his wife. Not Brian's wife. She is his wife, and he immediately smacks her around. So that's why she is betraying him. And these are the guys that Conan is fighting for, I believe. Or fighting against. I still don't remember. In the end, it doesn't really matter. Because Conan's sort of in the middle of it. Anyhow, this girl gets smacked around by her husband. And here's one of the things they did change. A lot of the reds they changed in the reprint. So you see so check this out. Look at how much red there is in the new one. And then there's other parts where they took red out and they put in. Now the colors are more vibrant, it seems like. But this, they recolored this character's outfit completely. It's just kind of interesting. This was only 24 years later, 70 to 94, 24 years later. It's a long time. And here we get, continuing with the story, Conan, they offer Conan to cut his chains off, and they offer him a weapon. He says, I don't need a weapon, but if you would, split the chains at my left wrist, and he's going to use the length of chain attached to his right hand as a weapon. Even though on the cover, he's got a sword. In the actual story, he does not use his sword this time around. So, yeah, they cut the chain, and that's what he's going to use is this length of chain. And here it begins. The battle is joined. What is that? A couple hundred guys on each side. And there is some conversation about how King Brian won't leave his tent. That is the side that Conan is on. And he thinks that is shameful. Clearly, he has some opinions about that. While this other guy is leading, Tomar is leading his soldiers into battle. Conan is fighting against them. They're Hyperboreans, apparently. They're the more savage ones, I guess. But anyhow, Conan's a Sumerian, and he wants revenge. This is where he finds the blonde guy who put him in chains, and he gets him with the chain across the head. And this is, so Conan is naturally making a name for himself. Everyone is now noticing that Malachi, who has the deal with the queen, is not, with Tomar's queen, who smacked her around, is not joining the battle. He's not coming in to help them. And I guess this doesn't make sense. I guess it doesn't matter. He's an enemy. And Conan sees him up there on the ridge, and he goes after him. The queen is hoping that, that's going to be her meal ticket moving forward. She's a schemer. But, after the battle, Conan chases him up the hill. And that's what's going on this multi-panel 4, 8. Wow, how many is this? 13 panels. I think that's the most I've ever seen Barry Windsor Smith put on a page. Wow, 13 panels. I don't think I've ever seen anyone do that. I love that Barry Smith does not use inset panels. And this one's got 9 and 13. That's a lot. That is a lot. So Conan chases this guy up the hill. The guy says, I've got a sword. You don't have a chance. Oh, and now here's something I noticed. The attack panel, that second horizontal panel. Take a look at that. This I definitely noticed. In this section of the book, the flesh tones were much better in the original. So here we'll go back a few pages, right? I'll just flip back through the book a little bit. This is stuff you guys just saw, right? It's a little different. It's a little different. Not super significant, but a little bit. Some of it I'm sure is faded with time, but they're both newsprint. Neither of them are glossy. They did this back in the day. They split one page vertically and then set it up as a horizontal bit. And this is so this is light. This is pretty light. But wait till you see the page coming up compared to the new reprint. So here's Conan chasing Malachi up the hill. It's up against a page of ads where the other one had 2 pages. And here it is. So look at this second panel here where you clearly get the stroke in white, and I mean the sword stroke, not like pen stroke, but the sword stroke in white against the yellow background, and Conan's flesh tones are really solid, whereas in this reprint, I don't think it came off as good. This is worth doing. This alone is making this tonight's episode worth doing. Look at the reprint. It's not as good as the original. It's not as clear. The action is not as clear. In the original, you really know what's going on. A lot better. Look at them next to each other. This is the new one. This is the original. Let me do it this way. Original, new. The original's better. At least with this part. At least with this part for the action. This one, it's not as clear. Conan, they have more color separations on his body and in the background. Whereas this, the body is a solid color. The chains are a solid color. The background is a solid color. This is better. This is better. Now, I will say this, though. Check this out. There is things that they do with the new one. So, they do greater, hotter highlights. Definitely do hotter highlights. And so this is the old one, right? Check out the hair down here, right? The hair and the god, Bori. Take a close, think of those, process those in your head. Now look at the hair on this one. Way hotter highlights down at the bottom. And now check out what they did with Bori on the next page, right? Look at the original versus the new one. See here, I think the new one's better. In the new one, you got color separation, you got skin tone. It's a lot less clear that he's a god, except that he's giant. And I'm sorry I'm holding it curved, but I guess I could do it like this. So this is the original, and here's the new one. On this side is the new one. This is the original. So this is pretty, this is pretty interesting. There's also some shots of Conan himself where he looks much better in the original. Just because he's crisper, he's more separated from the background, like I was saying. So though I do need to explain what's happening here. This is the 2 kings, Brian and Tomar. Tomar has made his way to Brian's tent, and they are fighting each other. And if I back up a page, you can see this is better in the original because you got them as a 2-page spread. You get the fight as a 2-page spread, and you get to see the whole thing. So this is Tomar reach Brian's tent. Malachi is being attacked by Conan. Malachi is the cavalry officer who held back his cavalry. And here we see Tomar and Brian do the double knockout from Step Brothers, where they hit each other with the baseball bat and the golf club and knocked each other out, Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. And so these 2 kill each other and die. And maybe that's the point where they realize the futility of war. But yes, this is the new one. And the pages are offset at this point. But so now Conan realizes what's going on and that Bori is calling down the Valkyrie, the choosers of the slain. I discovered what the next door neighbor's dog is so excited about all the time. There's a family of raccoons that live in the tree right there, and he is constantly going off, talking to them, saying, hey, I see you, I know you're there. So again, the original, you get a double page spread for the last 2 pages. It finishes on a very nice display, very nice presentation. I prefer this. If you're gonna do ads, do them in between so I can skip the ads. You know what I mean? So I can do like this. I can go, oh, 2 pages of ads. I don't need to see that, I'm gonna skip that commercial. 30 seconds, skip ahead, right? Although it's actually 2 minutes, about a minute a page. So this is a much better ending because you get 2 pages together. Whereas Marvel in '94 was a lot less considerate. You got these 2 pages because they'd screwed up back here somewhere on this bit. They'd offset it here. They could have given us this one and this one together, and then this one and the next one, but they didn't. This is what we get. You know, there's something else I want to talk about, and I'm glad we're doing this 2 issues together because this is going to be a good talk tonight. Good talk, bro, good talk. So this is the very end. Conan realizes the Valkyrie are carrying off the best warriors to fight in Ragnarok. They don't mention that that's what it's about, but that is what it's about. Tonight I was watching Todd McFarlane. I saw one of his things from a couple years ago on YouTube, and someone had asked him what the Marvel method was, and he explained that a little bit. And someone directly asked him, what's more important, art or story? And Todd's answer was, and I'm sure this is a long honed answer over years in comic books that he's had to give over and over and over again. And we're going to understand what he meant and why I'm doing full novels and not diving into comics with no story. Todd said, and I quote, he said, if Michelangelo draws a comic, I can have my dog write it and still sell it. But if my mom draws Shakespeare, I can't sell that. So he said, you can have the best story in the world. If you have a garbage artist attached, it will not sell. However, if you have a great artist attached, you can have a retard write it and it will sell. Once. Todd did not add that bit. It will sell once, Todd, and that's why I don't buy Spawn. After probably, issue 5, when you cucked to the censors with Billy Kincaid? That was your moment. You were the man with balls. Now, Rob had already gutted Story from Comics with Youngblood #1, where the enemies were never named, and I think there's only 3 panels where you see them. So the story was gone. But when Todd cucked to the censors, he could have done something brilliant with Spawn. Spawn could have rivaled John Constantine. Why isn't this the best character ever? Because Todd bent the knee. He bent the knee with Billy Kincaid, and he didn't have the guts to follow through on what he promised. If you're going to do more than Marvel, you can't leave Marvel and just do the same thing, which is kind of what Marvel did, which is kind of what Image did. Only Image just threw story out. They said, we're going to take the best artists, do the same thing Marvel does with no writers. If you're going to push boundaries, Todd was in trouble for pushing boundaries on Spider-Man with Wendigo and Wolverine. He was having the characters do things. Violence was the edge. Violence was the unspoken edge of comics. And Marvel neutered itself throughout the 90s and 2000s with people like Bill Gemma and the Jew Culture War, which was designed to attack white males. That they did that by attacking masculinity and introducing homosexuality and trans, and now we are where we are. Weimar Republic, 1934. So Conan is still Conan, and this won't change. I'm glad I own my work, and Marvel and DC don't own my characters. I'm really thankful for that. Like I said, I did a great bit of writing the last couple days. Today I mostly slept, did a leg workout, and today's card is the 6 of spades. And this is it fair to ambush an enemy force if they're the same numeric number as you? Fuck that. I'd ambush 5 guys with 400. There's no reason to take any risk. The cops don't take risks. Why are you required to take a risk when you're ambushing an enemy? When an enemy has declared that you are an enemy, presuming that you're not invading his territory to steal his wealth and women, then why you should spare no expense in self-defense. This is my 2 cents for what it's worth. Some stuff in the description. Michael Sarion, unslaved.com. Connor McDarry. Check those names out. You should know who they are. This comic book is Ashley Fox, Ninja Babysitter, The Last Valkyrie. This is in the description as a PDF for you guys to check out. This is issue 6 in a 5-issue limited series where we didn't draw issues 1 through 5. It needs to be rewritten. It needs to be fully colored. There's a lot here. A lot of these characters are in the current novel that I'm working on. 101,000 words right now. I don't know. This is what I'm kind of struggling with. In today's world, what is the point of going with a publisher? If they're not going to spend a significant amount of money on you as the author and promoting the book, then what is the point of going with the publisher? And what publisher in today's world is going to promote someone who is an enemy of globalism and is a promoter of nationalism and really tribalism, especially white tribalism? Like, they'll do black tribalism, sure, because it's the enemy of what they consider to be the power structure. But everyone has to agree that now white people are no longer the global power structure. We have been displaced. It's a hard thing to say. It's a harder thing to accept. But, I mean, I'm doing what I want to do. Now my job is to find a way to get my stuff to the audience. Once I have this to sell. I have these novels to sell. But let's be honest, you guys mostly don't read. You mostly play video games. So that's what I want. I want a video game casino with comic books and merch. And that's how I want to sell my stuff. That's my goal. That's what I'm working toward. Every day I get a little closer. All right, talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.